To do that with a knife is like super dangerous.
It's easy to say when you're not the one wielding a knife. Oh no.
And this is the first time you cut it, and we're trying to increase the intensity throughout the whole thing. I love these chunks flying off.
Yeah, that was cool.
It's great.
Hey everybody, welcome to another Buttered Side Down Behind the Scenes. Today we're going to go over carving a pumpkin.
Yes. Alright, so I guess, first of all, why did we decide to do carving a pumpkin?
Well, I think it was because it was maybe Halloween.
Yeah, that might have been a good reason why.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe, just maybe.
But I guess the idea was like, well, let's make these pumpkins be creatures that are alive. And that
we were like, what if people felt bad for pumpkins? Like,
yeah, and then that goes wrong somehow, and...
Yeah, I think that was the only time we ever did a weird title.
That was like the first time we ever did a weird title.
Only time.
So far, yeah, the only time, I guess.
Both are true, I guess.
But anyways, back to this beginning part. So it's like, we went to a field out in the hills at like, what was it, like 12 a.m. or
no,
1 a.m. or something?
No, you're being a bit dramatic. It was like
9
a.m., yeah.
No. 9 p.m.
Oh.
Right, but we were still trying to find like a wooded area that was sort of secluded and spooky with like spooky trees.
In Los Angeles, that turned out to be very, very difficult. We actually we went all over the city, like little parks in the middle of city buildings, like little, groves, and we could find one tree here, one tree there, a little baseball field, but nothing really had like a good amount of trees. And then we finally found a park in LA that,
Yeah, it did the job.
Yeah.
I think there was like some park officers that like rolled up at one point, but we were in like a little like cove, so they couldn't see us.
Yeah,
and we had to like turn our lights on and off, like to sort of stay hidden.
Yeah, for some reason they don't like you to be in the park when the darkness hits or something.
But we bought 2 like LED lights for this, and that's what's
yeah.
That's what's casting all this light.
I forgot that we did that. I almost just thought that was normal moonlight or something, but if we didn't have those lights, it would have been pitch black.
Yeah, it was really, really black. And so we used those, and I think right here, I'm actually carrying one and running with you to try and keep
you're kind of creating an ambient fill light, like you see in video games whenever you run around and there's just like light somehow.
And I had to like match his running footsteps so that we didn't add extra like footstep audio in the background.
I think you're actually on my shoulders.
Oh yeah, that's right. But we, how we did this was...
Oh yeah, there's you're at this point standing...
It runs away. There's a string around it.
Yeah.
You can kind of see the faint outline of it, but it's...
failed attempt at painting it out.
It's mostly gone, and I'm over here, and I pull the pumpkin at the right time, and you start chasing it. And then this was a different shot, so it wasn't like a sequential cut.
I really love how this is just like quiet, ambient, like forest sounds, and there's not a lot going on, and then suddenly just boom, pumpkin's running.
Yeah. And so this blends into this shot where I think
one of us threw it. I think
it was me throwing it at one point and you also throwing it, but like we basically just threw the pumpkin and had you chase it and tried to make it look like it was like running away. And then it slows down, maybe it gets tired or whatever, I don't know.
Yeah,
you grab it with a cloth and bring it back home.
Only run so far.
And then you hit it with a club.
Yeah.
I guess because like caveman hunting beast club.
Yeah, it fit the sort of quirk. And then there's a funny video here, like, so to get the club to work, you had to actually hand me the club.
Yeah.
Out of frame, like, because I didn't have it on me.
So I'm over here, you can see me holding the club, because like he has to hold this pumpkin with both hands.
And then the club has to just come into frame.
So I have to hand it to him while he's staring at the pumpkin, and it...
Yeah. That's your fault.
And it didn't always go smoothly.
No.
But after it's been knocked out, I guess the carving starts, and this was the most like dangerous thing we've probably ever done on the channel.
Yeah, it's a bit cringy watching the behind the scenes or the footage of this. Like, I was doing my best to be energetic and fast, but also careful with an actual knife because I had to really cut the pumpkin.
Yeah, I kept telling you to go more intense, because the whole, doing things forcefully and doing it with intensity is like, it aids in the character's mannerisms, but like to do that with a knife is like super dangerous.
It's easy to say when you're not the one wielding a knife.
I'm just gonna click on a random video here and try and... Like, this had me like cringing watching it. And at this point, we also didn't have framing glasses,
Right.
so like, so many times I'd be like, okay, you're looking too low, you're looking too high.
So I'm receiving all these directions plus the cutting the knife and
What's not so drastic?
And telling him like how to do things and trying to keep it intense, but like at the same time, I don't want him to cut himself, and like you're trying to be careful. Yeah,
my
it's like scary, and that's not even the worst of it, because like
Yeah.
later, not this, but later, like when you start just hammering away at the at the thing with the knife, like basically just stabbing right next to your hand, and like just doing this for a long time until and later we just cut it down.
Oh no.
And this is the first time you cut it, and we're trying to increase the intensity throughout the whole thing. I love these chunks flying off.
Yeah, that was cool.
It's great. So we kept that in, obviously.
Yeah. I think I've never been more focused on the task at hand than at that moment.
So you reach in, and there's a brain.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're real pumpkins. It's
Yeah.
like, throw a spin on what a pumpkin is, I guess.
Yeah.
Toss.
And here's that in its edited form.
Yep.
Oh yeah, so this is for some reason we didn't prepare enough time here to make an actual Polaroid of a pumpkin. So
Yeah, it's not a real Polaroid.
yeah, it's a piece of cardboard trash that we digitally tracked a fake digital Polaroid on. It's absurd that we had to go through that many steps.
But I guess it's harder to find a Polaroid in short notice and
Well,
take a photo of a specific
This is
thing.
also back before we had like as much prep time. Like we had less like time spent in preparation and more time spent in post.
Yeah, because we were like, okay, we want to do a Halloween episode, and we basically said we wanted to do that like 2 or 3 weeks before Halloween, and so we just had, it was maybe 2 weeks.
It was really sudden.
It's super sudden, so we're just like, okay, well, we can do visual effects, we're just gonna create
Yeah.
a Polaroid in post, and it worked fine.
Yeah, in some cases you just have to go that route.
So we had to like put the thumb back on top over it. And,
Shadow as well.
But the whole point is like, with this Polaroid, it's like the character, we're sort of implying that he went out, snapped a photo of someone else's pumpkin
Right.
on their porch,
Right.
and was like, this is what I'm gonna make. I'm gonna make that. And he uses a Polaroid because, like, you know, there's an old-fashioned style to the channel.
Yeah, the more old fashioned we can get. the
And
better.
he's just so terrible at everything that he can't possibly create this. And so it's sort of a futile effort. First one goes away, he's like, okay, well, I guess I have to go get another one. And so it does a different method each time.
Yeah. This was actually filmed in reverse. You pulled the pumpkin away, and then we reversed the footage and painted out the rope to make it have this like kind of crawling effect.
Yeah, which is, and also interesting about this is because you look over to it like that, like, oh, it's coming up.
Yeah, I
Like,
forgot.
you had to basically act in reverse.
Yeah, I had to like whip my head backwards.
You had to, like, after the pumpkin leaves frame, you had to, like, whip back to the net as if that was the reverse of noticing the pumpkin
Also,
coming in.
don't forget, you handcrafted that net out of twine.
So I spent like a couple hours to actually make this net.
Yeah. So we couldn't find a net like that just lying around.
And it had like 4 corners, and those corners met at a certain point, and then that point went to a single rope, which I strung around a tree.
Yeah, so it's
and
a
then
legit trap. You know, if we were actually trying to trap a pumpkin, it would have worked.
Yeah, totally. And so we like laid a bunch of leaves over it, and that's the first time you see it. You're like, oh, he's laying seeds. Why?
I'm a bit confused as to how we thought pumpkin internal seed organs would attract another pumpkin, but I guess it worked.
That's up for interpretation,
Yeah.
I suppose. Let's see. I think I have that in reverse over here. No, we have a
In regular?
video right here. Oh, this is attempting to pull it,
Right.
and yeah, pumpkins are slippery, and the string didn't stick around it. So we did this
and
like
you
4
weren't
or 5
as skilled
times.
at this time at pumpkin puppetry.
Yeah, it's not as easy as it seems. It's not like we got it first try. But if I disable this, I wonder if this is reversed without the disable here.
No.
No, it's still reversed.
But there you are in the shadows
Yeah,
lurking.
you can kind of see me over here, and so we painted me out, so
Yeah.
you can't see me anymore. Cool. So after you capture this pumpkin, you can like hear its voice there.
Yeah, you had like a
Like it's like a weird like pumpkin sound.
yeah.
Kind of weird. It's like subtle.
Yeah, I think subtlety was what worked here.
And then obviously you go crazy with that. Put the brain out of there. And we introduce some new tools.
We had to do our best to sort of make each attempt feel slightly different. But we also our goal was to also make it feel like he was getting slightly better at it. Like, just, I think, right? Like each...
I'm not sure if he got better at it, because each one is just as horrifying as the last one, but he gets more intense and more frustrated with it every time, until I guess he succeeds in the end in some way. But this is I always like this. It's like
babies.
It's like, yeah, to compound on the idea that he's decimating a pumpkin population. This is a mother pumpkin with baby pumpkins, and he doesn't give two shits about them.
I don't think I've ever seen that before. And the little squeal. Oh, I feel bad.
And then there's the bolt in it, which went through the brain.
I like that.
That's good. I think you just improv that on the moment. Nope. This is such a mess. Okay, so this blow dart, that's the story.
What's the story?
The story is we built a functional blow dart.
Oh, yeah. It was...
Is that even CG right there?
That's CG.
Okay. But it really worked.
It worked for sure. Yeah, it worked. And then we had to dismantle it because we found out that apparently you're not allowed to own a blow dart in California.
Sure, but I mean, this is such a... I mean, like, it launches a... We used a syringe with like a nail in the end of it, and the syringe fits perfectly in the tube we found. We just added like these extra things onto it, and it worked so well that we could shoot the syringe dart across a room and actually stick it into something.
Into the wall.
Yeah, so that's interesting.
See, I think it's getting slightly better.
Yeah, I suppose so.
I love this cut here. This is very cinematic. This is like a Quentin Tarantino cut right here.
Yeah.
Or something.
It's like it's and yet it still progresses. Now you have like a group of 3 pumpkins huddled against a tree, like trapped and horrified at an axe murderer coming out and like decimating. It's like, you know, this can only end in tears.
And this was like, you carved this one, right?
Yeah.
Like, I definitely don't have the dexterity to...
Well, I mean, I've carved several pumpkins in my life. And then we cut it in half
That was
times.
difficult. I had to, like, hold the pieces together.
Yeah, I don't know if I have that... No, it wasn't very interesting, but several times we had to put those back together and try and get it to fall apart and have you hold it while it was, like, almost falling apart.
So I was holding the clean, pristine version, and then on the cut is where we swapped to the rapidly cut one.
Yeah, and like I said, the challenging part was holding it together while it was cut apart. But as long as we had it barely held together until it fell apart, it worked. And so I guess you just give up. The character gives up. He's like, well, I give up. And then we have this pumpkin sound rolling behind him. Like, that was weird. So the lights turn off and the pumpkins are outside. Like, they've got a knife. Like, what? So we're like, okay, at this point, it's just going to become a horror.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you noticed that, but actually, no, I don't think I've ever seen a comment about it. But there they are again.
Yep, on the windowsill.
Like outside the window.
And that was a pretty simple effect.
They're everywhere.
It's amazing that we were able to accomplish all this with just very minimal, like, movement of any kind.
Yeah, this was very convenient for us.
Oh yeah, one foggy night in LA.
Yeah, it was super foggy. I don't think this was our original idea to come out here on the street. Like
I don't remember.
I don't think it was.
We saw the fog. We're like, oh, we have to film out there.
Yeah, I think that was the goal. Yeah. Was like, let's move outside of the house for this fog and like have it be on the street. That'd be cool. And then that was shot in reverse.
Oh yeah.
And sped way up. So I think. Ooh, can you? Is that me?
No, that's my flashlight arm.
Oh right, okay. But I think either you or me, like, we moved the pumpkins away and had them roll away, and then reversed that footage to make it look like they attacked you. And then this is, I mean, how else do you like attach a knife to a pumpkin?
I know.
We had like a.
I mean, we talked about digitally painting out that whole thing, but it was just really challenging to do that.
It's like Yeah, so we used like a U-hook or something and just like
Yeah.
jammed it into the pumpkin so he can hold the knife. Yeah, maybe that's how they do it, you know,
Yeah.
or whatever. But pumpkins don't have hands, so. And then here we go with this sound. It's like, okay, what are we implying here? Like, one of the most difficult things to try and get across is that he's a pumpkin. He was carved, or they carved his face or something, and he became. He basically got the same fate as the other pumpkins.
Yeah. And then I think we actually left those on the porch for a good like month.
Yeah, and they became horrifying after a while.
Yeah, they rapidly degraded.
Is there anything else I missed?
No, I think that's it.
Yeah, the club, the string. Oh, okay. So this is a quick thing. When the pumpkin lands on the desk, we had this idea that, like, we wanted it to look like the pumpkin was moving.
Oh yeah.
Because otherwise, you know, we want to continue the idea that they move by
Originally,
themselves.
we thought we'd have like a.
So this was our attempt at that. You can see a string here. I'm like, the idea is, okay, I'm just gonna like move the pumpkin a little bit with a string or something.
Yeah.
It didn't work at all.
Failed.
Yeah, good idea. Yeah, no, not a good idea. So
Sometimes we have to abandon something if it's just not going to work.
yeah. I don't think there's anything else in here.
No, I think that's it.
That's pretty much it.
Cool. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully we'll get the next one out here pretty soon.
Yep. Bye.